195 or 0998-466-0202 or 8572-1869.
Rescue ang 10 katao matapos sumiklab ang
pagsuko kahapon ng 3 miyembro ng CBP-NPA.
Aprobado na sa House Committee.
sa panayam ng SM News.
Pag ang totoo ay totoo, lilitaw talaga yan.
SMNI, Balita Totoo.
Good evening, you're watching SMNI. This is Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante Klinkang. Tonight, we're taping this episode at the sidelines of the Manila Times Business Forum, focusing on the digitalization and modernization of Philippine ports. The Philippines is a maritime nation, except that the national focus, particularly of policymakers, seems to be fixated inland. We have 36,000 kilometers of coastline. We produce 3/4 of the world's seafarers, and yet this particular sector lags behind many other sectors that are operating in our terrestrial areas. Tonight, we'll be talking to representatives of the Philippine Ports Authority, or PPA, the Maritime Industry Authority, or Marina, and the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, as well as someone from the private sector. We will ask them, how do we make the Philippines a maritime hub of Asia? Good evening. We have Attorney Mark John Palomar, the Department Manager of the Philippine Ports Authority. Sir, welcome to Business and Politics. Thank you for making time for this.
Thank you for having me.
We are at the sidelines now of Manila Times Forum on the digitalization and modernization of Philippine ports. But before we get to that, can you just give us maybe a brief overview of what are the major issues that the PPA, now under the Marcos administration, what are the major issues that it wants to look at?
Well, as instructed by the president,
Yes.
we're trying to modernize our systems.
Okay.
So for the past 6 years, we've been focused on infrastructure improvement.
I see.
For the next 6 years, we'll be focusing on the digitalization and improving the process.
Right. So from build now to modernizing.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we have enough ports.
Okay.
We're trying to facilitate the improvement of the services which we give our riding public.
Okay.
So although there will still be infrastructure improvements, but our focus now is how to improve our process, how to digitalize, how to make it more transparent.
Right. So how difficult is that? How far are we from truly calling our ports modernized and digitalized? I'm sure work has been going on for many administrations, right? So certainly probably PPA is not starting from ground zero, but what's the status now? And how much work are you looking to do? Will this take the whole 6 years? more than, even beyond the Marcos administration, or what are you looking at?
It's important to know where we're at.
Yes.
So in line with that, our general manager, Jay Santiago, has created a committee in order to create a roadmap for digitalization.
Okay.
We're looking at all our systems. We're reviewing if these systems are still effective.
Okay.
We're seeing if what these systems seek to improve, what these systems seek to provide. And then with that, we will be able to project the next 6 years, the next steps which we will be taking. This is also in line with the requirements under the single window which we are required to commit by the end of the year.
Right. And at the forum, you were talking about one major project of the PPA, the e-ticketing system.
Yes, electronic terminal management system.
Right. Could you talk about that? What does that mean to people and businesses, cargo businesses? What does that mean to them?
Okay, this is more focused on the riding public.
Okay.
Our goal is we would create a system wherein our riding public would be able to plan their trips by sea from end to end. So we're an archipelago.
Okay. So they don't have to go to the port and physically buy tickets.
Physically buy tickets, so you can buy online.
Right.
Now, for example, if you want to do a road trip from Manila, from Luzon to Mindanao, it would entail several boats.
Right.
So our goal here is, under the system, you'd be able to plan your entire trip on the system.
Fantastic.
We are offering the system to the shipping lines because not all shipping lines can provide for an online system.
I see.
So with this system, you'll be able to book it online,
Right.
and when you get to the port, all payments will be done via the system. Now
see.
we also cover those who don't have online access.
Okay.
We will be setting up terminals at the port wherein you can purchase your ticket. So
Right.
from end to end, you'll be able to
Right.
to plan your ticket.
Right. And so this system, when does it come online? What's the timetable?
We're currently doing a review for ARTA. So
Okay.
we want to ensure that all our processes which we are to implement would be compliant with the ease of doing business.
Right.
Currently, as I mentioned during the talk, that we've completed the ARTA requirement, the regulatory impact analysis for our top trusted operator program, registry monitoring system.
Right.
So now we're preparing the documentation as well for our electronic ticketing monitoring system.
Right. So do you think that can happen this year, or are we looking at next year, or
Well, hopefully it'll happen within the year.
within the year? So it's very soon. It's very exciting. I know.
Yeah, well, we have the initial policy to
Right.
begin with, so
So you're just checking the compliance.
making
now.
sure that everything would be compliant and would really obtain the objectives which the policy seeks to improve.
Right. And you were saying during your talk that this would eliminate the fixers in the ports. Could you elaborate on that?
We have
Because it's all now online.
yeah,
right?
we have passengers who get to the ports and they
Yeah.
only buy their tickets then.
Right.
Now, if you buy it online, when you get there, you won't be able to get it from scalpers. Also, we'll be
Right.
able to monitor who's purchasing the tickets.
I see.
So you won't be able to readily transfer that ticket. So which is probably what's happening now. That's why there are scalpers. They buy a lot of tickets,
Right.
and then when you go to the shipping line, it's already full because someone has already bought all the tickets.
Right. So for the consumers, is it correct to say that this becomes this benefits them in terms of cost because it makes the ticket more affordable, right? I mean, as opposed to going to a scalper, right? Does it eliminate travelers from queuing, or does it save them time? Also because it's all bought, as you said before.
You
Right?
no longer have to queue, and when
Yeah.
you present your ticket, they would no longer have to review it because you'll be scanning your QR code for the ticket.
I
So it would also ease the entry into our terminals.
I see. And also during your talk, you're talking on the cargo side that the port managers, ICTSI, ATI, they have their own mobile apps. You were showing that there. Can you talk about that?
Well, these mobile apps are to assist the port users with
Right.
regards to scheduling of the trucks to pick
Right.
up cargo. It also assists them in paying for fees,
Right.
etc. So it's more on the services or for that particular terminal operator.
Right.
What we're providing for under PPA is to provide a system which could be adopted nationwide.
I see. Are these apps already existing?
Yes, they're already existing.
They're existing.
So what was presented earlier
Yeah.
were current digitalization efforts which are being used by the port users and taken advantage by the port users now.
Right. So very exciting. Does that also help address, some of the corruption issues in the past? Because I think one of the main things about digitalization is that it removes that temptation, right? And because it basically automates the whole process.
I can't answer for what were the issues in the past regarding
Yeah.
corruption. But with this system, payments would be done online.
Yeah.
So you apply for a service, you pay it online, and then so it reduces the human
The
element.
intervention, yeah. So does that make it also faster? Because I know that's a factor for many cargo companies. The turnaround.
You won't be lining up.
Right.
You won't be prepared documents, and
Right.
at the comfort at your offices, you can process your documentation.
Right. So, and hopefully that will translate into efficiencies and cost savings.
Well, all the documents will be online.
Right.
Payments will be online, so you
Right.
no longer queue. You no longer have to present it one by one
Right.
to. And if you have someone ahead of you in the queue
Right.
with a large list of documents, large list of
Right.
transactions, you have to wait.
Right.
But now it's you process at your own time.
Yeah. Now, these apps are mainly for the ports in Manila, but you also were talking about some of the projects that you were looking at in Davao, Iloilo. Can you talk about that? What are some of the exciting things going on there?
One of a way to modernize the ports is the PPA is getting the participation of the private sector. Now, under our Port Terminal Management Regulatory Framework, we are bidding out the operations of these ports. So PPA steps back from the actual operation of the ports, and we give it to the private sector. Now, with this, the private sector would have certain obligations depending on what I explained earlier as the tier. Under Tier 1, the water side and the land side developments under the PPA's master plan would be the responsibility of the operator. Under Tier 2, the land side development is the responsibility of the operator. So this would be we require cranes,
Right,
we require
right.
improvements on additional equipment, etc.
Modernizing equipment
Modernizing, yeah.
and
So
tooling, yeah.
the private sector is more they adapt quicker.
Right.
So from PPA side, we set the
You're creating the environment for the private sector
yes.
to
We set the performance indicators.
Right,
So
right.
they have to provide efficiency. So we monitor efficiency. So it's rather than PPA handling the ports, PPA steps back and starts regulating.
Okay.
So we don't compete against the other ports.
Right.
The ports compete against each other, but they have the same KPIs, and we standardize the rates.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your time. A lot of exciting things going on at the PPA. We wish you good luck. This is Business and Politics. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Nais mo bang mapanood ang SMNI sa telebisyon? Kung ikaw ay Sky Cable subscriber, narito ang mga channels kung saan pwedeng mapanood ang SMNI. Sa National Capital Region, Sky Cable Channel 162. Cebu, Sky Cable Channel 37. Davao City, Sky Cable Channels 14, 43 at 46. General Santos City, Sky Cable Channel 37. Zamboanga, Sky Cable Channel 53. Bacolod, Sky Cable Channel 37. Iloilo, Sky Cable Channel 36. Dumaguete, Sky Cable Channel 37. Baguio, Sky Cable Channel 14. At Lawag, Sky Cable Channel 10. Para naman sa mga Signal subscribers ay mapapanood ang SMNI sa Channel 186 sa buong bansa. Maaari ring mapanood ang SMNI sa Digital TV sa Davao City at Manila. Pati na rin sa TV Plus at GMA Affordabox. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Panoorin mo na ang SMNI sa inyong telebisyon. Dahil dito sa SMNI, taong bayan ang bida.
Welcome back to SMNI. This is Business and Politics. For this segment, we're talking to Ms. Mary Ann Pastrana, the chairperson of the Archipelago Philippine Ferries Corporation. Many know your company as Fast Cats.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Very interesting talk, but first let me ask, how's business? You were telling me that even before the pandemic, operations did not really stop.
Yes.
Have you recovered already, or what's your state now?
Yes, we are now seeing the passenger ship come up to pre-pandemic levels. As I have mentioned, we have not stopped carrying cargo since day one of the pandemic,
Yes.
because we carry passengers and cargo all over the Philippines. So we are happy that the passenger ship has gone up, and the cargo volume has already also gone up.
Right. What's your outlook for this year? Are you looking to increase more ships, expand to more destinations? What are your plans for 2023 and maybe 2024?
Yes. So 2023, we are going to receive 2 more ships that was actually due for delivery during the pandemic
Right,
times.
that brings a total to how many now?
21 total
Okay.
ships that
Okay.
will connect the Philippine Islands.
Okay.
We have created our big, hairy, audacious goal
Okay.
of having 60 Fast Cats by 2030.
Wow.
But then the disruption happened.
Right.
Why? Because we are increasing in population in the Philippines, and we have 7,641 islands. So
Right.
60 ships will be nothing, not
Right.
enough. So,
Right.
we are positive that there's a lot of opportunity for growth,
Right.
especially with the onset of online shopping.
Right.
Shopee, Lazada, they
Right.
all deliver to the provinces.
Right.
And
Right.
therefore, we see just an opportunity to grow our fleet
Right.
continuously. And of course, because we are an archipelagic nation,
Right.
there are no concrete bridges that will connect the islands,
Right.
but sea bridges
Right.
like a Fast Cat.
Right. And as you said, 60 vessels is really not much. We have thousands of islands. So we had
Yes.
more than 100 million
Yes.
Filipinos.
Yes.
But interesting in your talk today, you were sort of referring to the ease of doing business, and you were saying something that for the government to look at its systems to make it easy for you,
Yes.
maybe just to go even beyond the 60 vessels.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you want policymakers to look at to help businesses like yours
Yes.
to grow?
Yes. Of course, ships are not cheap. No, they're
Yes.
expensive.
Yeah.
So definitely.
How much is one Fast Cat? About ballpark?
About $10 million.
Wow, okay.
With the prices now of steel and
Yeah.
all. So definitely we will need the support of banks.
Right.
To fund all of these ships because they are not cheap.
Right,
No. And
right.
then of course we are servicing the public, and we are operating in different islands. So we are subjected by many layers of government regulators.
Right.
So Marina, you
Right.
have BOI, if you bring in modern ships.
Right.
Insurance, the police,
Right.
the local government units.
Right.
So PPA.
Yeah.
So with all these parang sala-salabit na policies,
Right.
and so many,
Yeah.
it's going to take time for us to cover regulatory instead of focusing on what we do best, which is
Yeah.
really connecting people,
Right.
carrying people, and connecting the islands.
Right.
So that's what I mean when I say I hope we're not asking for subsidies, because click in other countries, they have subsidies.
Okay.
The government subsidizes
Right.
because their thinking is that if the government cannot provide the road network,
Right. It
then
might
they
as
will,
well help the private sector do it.
yes,
Yeah.
they will have the sea,
Yeah.
the ships to
Yeah.
connect the islands,
Yeah.
and they subsidize, like in the form of fuel.
Yeah.
They subsidize in form of
Yeah.
fares.
Yeah.
They subsidize that.
Yeah.
But here, this is a
So you're on your own.
Yes,
Okay.
we are a private corporation. We don't get any subsidies. So the least we are asking for is just help us make it easy, because
Right.
as it is, the shipping industry is complex.
Right.
We keep on moving. We have high tide, low tide, fuel
Right,
prices.
right.
We have the depth of the port.
Right.
Killing our propellers,
Right.
and therefore it's not easy to maintain.
Yeah.
So do you ever think why we have the highest record of maritime incidents?
Right.
Diba? Why? Because it's not cheap to maintain ships.
Yeah, yeah.
So when all of these problems happen, safety is the first to go. Like,
Right.
companies cannot afford that. So just to keep afloat, they just keep on running fuel na lang. But the benefit of others, other things, aspects of other business operations suffers.
Right.
So then we need to engage more people to think about how we can support each other to make this happen.
Now, the theme of this forum, of course, is digitalization and modernization. Is that the right priority now? I mean, I'm sure it will help, but or are there other things that the government should be looking at that's more beneficial to the private sector? You think?
Yes, again, it can go from small things to big
There's so many
things.
things,
Yes, small things to big things. Small things, for example, just the awareness, increasing the awareness on maritime. Like maritime, what is this? Hey, we are an archipelago and therefore we must support this. Blue economy, let's talk about blue economy. And in that aspect, we don't only limit it to shipping and
you were saying
ports,
ships, ports, people.
Think about people, think about fisher folks, think about education. So all of this must be hand in hand in growing this industry. If all of us parang sama-sama tayo, let's synergize and just make it stronger. One of the big issue right now is that EMSA issue, that even BBM has been talking about, and Marina has been on the hot seat.
This is the certification issue for seafarers.
So that issue has been in our heads for the longest time. That's keeping us from improving or taking it to the next level. So I was like, when the Safe Mode researchers were here to cascade the learning of the research in the Philippines, I was telling them, sir, can you help us just get it out of our heads so that we can move forward, because it's something that is dragging us or just pulling us back. But we can do so much more, moving forward. So awareness would be one, or not littering at sea, or like that oil spill. So in education, we must make our young kids think about maritime or the blue economy and the potential that it can give to our country. Why is Singapore such a big maritime player, no? Yung mga ganyan. If we start thinking about that, and as a people, we all increase awareness, we cooperate, collaborate, help each other, then the opportunity is just great.
And we were talking earlier, you were saying that maybe we shouldn't just talk about maritime issues when there's bad news, like an oil spill. Could you elaborate on that?
I was telling you that I finished nutrition in the University of the Philippines. My husband finished agribusiness, and I said, we ended up in shipping.
That's an interesting origin for
I know
ship owners.
I know. So I said, I always joke about my husband took up agribis, and he kept on agreeing on all businesses. That's why we ended up on ship owning and ship operating. And because I took up nutrition, I took up a maritime course in the World Maritime University and maritime education and training at the PMMA. And one of my take home in the World Maritime University is that it is our responsibility, us in the shipping and in the maritime sector, to tell the people on shore of the things that are happening in our world that is not limited to bad news. Because maybe people will just hear about oil spill, piracy, death, sinking, collision, but not about the good things. That's why when we modernized our fleet in FastCat, we made sure that we told the world about our modernization. And, sad to say, we're even more recognized abroad than here.
That's
more celebrated abroad than here.
The government is doing a lot of things of tourism. Is that something that you're also looking at?
Oh, definitely. We have beautiful islands, so many islands to see. So how do you get there? How do you bring the tourists
through
there?
FastCat.
Through FastCat, yes.
Well, it's been very interesting to talk to you. I think we really have to devote an entire episode. We'll invite you back to Business and Politics, but Chairman Pastrana, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
so this is Business and Politics. We'll take a quick break.
We don't need to explain because truth needs no justification. We are not afraid because the truth will always win. When we ask questions, it's always for the good of all. We question to build, not to break. We question to clarify, not to confuse. We question to protect, not hurt. Truth hurts, but it heals. Tune in to SMNI, where truth is free. SMNI, defining true press freedom.
Rescue ang 10 katao matapos sumiklab ang
Mga pagsuko kahapon ng 3 miyembro ng CPP-NPA.
Aprobado na sa House Committee.
sa panayam ng SMNI News.
Pag ang totoo ay totoo, lilitaw talaga yan.
Welcome back to SMNI. This is Business and Politics. For this segment, we're talking to Ms. Nanette Villamor Dinopol. She is Deputy Administrator for Operations for Marina. This is the Maritime Industry Authority. Dinopol, thank you very much for taking some time out to talk to us on the sidelines of this forum. How is Marina, ma'am? What's keeping you busy these days?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. King. Thank you really for inviting us, the Marina, here on the event of the Manila Times, talking about maritime industry.
Yes.
Well, in Marina, the atmosphere is quite exciting.
Yes.
Considering that, we have this, of course, the EMSA result
Okay.
of the inspection will come out soon.
Are you hopeful that it will be favorable, or what's your
Well,
expectation?
If you want to ask me, should be favorable, and not only for Marina, but of
Yeah.
course for our seafaring
Yes.
industry. And well, we have currently challenges as well
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to maritimes, the mandate of
Yeah.
Marina as to the maritime safety
Yeah.
in view of the recent tragedy
Yeah.
that happened, the sinking of motor tanker Princess
Yeah.
Empress. And yes, as we all know, there was another maritime accident last night. A passenger ferry caught fire somewhere in the south, that's in Basilan area. And the search and rescue is still ongoing. But as I said, yes, we are always excited in doing our job.
It's challenging.
Well, challenging because, we basically cover the ships,
Yeah.
the seafarers, and the whole maritime industry as a whole.
Right. I'll get to those in a minute, but you were talking in your presentation earlier about this development plan to 2028. Can you just briefly give us the highlights of that and what the country can expect from the implementation of that this is a new development plan under this administration, right?
Oh, yeah, talking about...
So maybe this will address also some of those
Definitely.
accidents that you talked
Definitely.
about, the
It's
Empress
part.
and the...
Yeah, definitely. As I presented earlier, we have this maritime industry development plan. We crafted this way back 2018, and this was launched 2019. And now we are in the process of updating this. We presented our milestones during the Maritime Industry Summit that was graced by no less than the President of the Republic, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. we have all the, we are so happy. We have the full support of the president and of course the industry as the whole. So we have actually 10 programs for this. Well,
Quite comprehensive, right?
Quite,
Yeah. Education, development,
from ships, modernization of ships to shipbuilding, to education, maritime education and training of seafarers, shipbuilding industry as well, and of course the improvement as well of the information system, and of course attuned to the digitalization
and modernization of the ports.
Modernization of ports,
Yeah.
of the maritime industry as a whole.
Yeah, you mentioned the tanker Empress, and that's been a running story for several weeks now. When in the context of this development plan that is now being implemented, where would something like that fit in the development plan? I mean, I guess the question is, how can we prevent, right, that from happening again?
Yeah. So really, so sad to really face all these challenges, ongoing challenges in the maritime industry, especially the sinking of that motor tanker Princess Empress, which may cause damage to the environment, carrying 800,000 liters of
oil,
industrial fuel oil. That's black oil. But it's part of our program in the MIDP that we really need to enhance, update our policy on maritime safety. We do have, it's also in our mandate that whenever there's a maritime accident, we conduct marine safety investigation. That is pursuant to the IMO regulation on marine casualty investigation. Though this investigation is non-punitive, the purpose of this marine safety investigation is for us to check really the lapses in the process, from the construction of the ships up to the issuance of the safety certificates. This is part of our MIDP program as well. And we are using, I'm referring to the marine safety investigation, we are using that as our main reference really on updating and introducing, improving our current policies when it comes specifically to this tanker operation.
You also mentioned EMSA a while ago. You said that there is you're expecting some developments there. Can you talk about that process, because that's also been in the news for many years? But what exactly what's coming out soon?
What's coming out soon is, as I said, that soon I will be receiving the result of the inspection. Maybe you've been hearing all over the efforts done, but the president himself is on top of this. He has all the full support really to the government agencies that are in charge on this, addressing all the findings presented during the inspection, and hopefully we'll be having
cross our fingers, right?
Positive result, not only for us in Marina, for other agencies like CHED, DOH, who are really involved, the schools, the maritime schools, the training centers, but that's for everyone, that's for the country, because we are earning the remittance of our seafarers as of 2022 reaches up to $6 billion. So we really need this industry. Well, as mentioned earlier by one of the speakers, that think the seafarers is the third contributor to our economy.
Are you also, because you mentioned that part of the development plan is the education component, right? Are you working with Congress now, because they've convened the Second Congressional Commission on Education, EDCOM2. I guess they're reviewing K-12, right? Are you part of that? Have you been invited to share, or are you already part of it?
Yes, we are part of this. We've been consulted.
Okay.
We were furnished copy of the draft legislation. And yeah, we do contribute. We submit our position paper on that. And referring to the senior high,
yes.
Yeah, we are part of that. We're working. We have actually we have an existing memorandum of agreement with DepEd on that way back, well, 2014, 16, something. So we are working together on this senior high school. And of course, for the higher maritime education, we're closely also coordinating with CHED.
Yeah.
We are partners really because, well, this is how it is. When
As
it
you
comes
said,
to education,
whole of nation approach.
Whole of nation
Yeah,
approach.
yeah.
You got it. You got it right. Whole of nation approach.
Well, Ma'am Ninopol, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with all of your projects, and
Yeah,
hopefully we'll be hearing some good news soon. This is Business and Politics. I will be right back.
Did you know that water is the only drink that can quench your thirst? Drink Galilee Purified Drinking Water. Every bottle undergoes advanced scientific process to ensure safe, clean, and pure bottle. So what are you waiting for? Drink Galilee Drinking Water. Every bottle is a labor of love. For delivery, contact Galilee Purified Drinking Water at 0956 658 4195 or 0998 466 0202 or 8572 1869.
Statecraft is the art of managing the affairs of the state. Because of this, successful nation building depends on the effective use of this art. My name is Sas Rogando Sasot, and this is Statecraft.
Welcome back to SMNI. This is Business and Politics. For our last segment, we have our very own attorney, Brenda Pimentel. But you are here in a dual capacity, but not just as a columnist of the Manila Times, but also as a consultant of the International Maritime Organization. The theme today was digitalization and modernization of ports. How far are we from that goal, Attorney Brenda? I know you're talking about even some ports don't even have computers in some areas, but realistically speaking, in terms of years, maybe how far are we from this objective, you think?
It's a tough question because what I was saying earlier was if we have to do that, the modernization and digitalization, let's first look at our basic capability.
Yes.
You know, you talk of digitalization, the availability of internet connection where your ports are located, the users who will be using it, especially the passengers. Do they have the capacity to do this, what they say earlier, cashless application? Or I think we have to look at it not only from the point of view of a port as a physical structure,
right,
but rather the ability of the users of the port,
right,
to do or perform what is required of them when they use the port.
right.
And again, the more important aspect, as far as I'm concerned, is how far is our port authority, for example, able to master the cooperation of all other agencies involved in maritime transport.
Right. Well, since you're going backwards, right? We also talked about or mentioned that maybe we should start with the basic mindset that we are indeed a maritime nation. Of course, right? We have islands all around us. We have more water than we do have land in the Philippines, and yet the attention, especially of policymakers, seems to be fixated on inland. Is that your impression as well? And what are the consequences there in policy making, right? In economic development planning, and maybe in just everything else that we do as a country?
Yeah, that is a thinking that I have had since the early 80s when I joined Marina. And as I was saying earlier, I joined Marina when the president was a Marcos.
Yes.
And at the time when he issued PD 474, he has already in mind the importance of connecting all the islands.
Yes.
And yet, every time there is a change in the leadership, they forget to implement what has been planned, the policies, etc. So I think we have to shift a paradigm shift. We have done enough of reforestation programs. We have done a lot of planning for our land-based economy. Let us look at our blue economy, as they say.
Yes, yes.
And that is the use and the harvesting of our resources below water.
Right.
So when we look at how they plan our land-based policies, they forget that outside of the terrestrial territory, you go to sea.
Right.
So, and it has affected, of course, the direction of Congress. Because, the president, for example, is the one who says, this is my priority legislative agenda.
Right.
So if there is none at all, everybody will be looking at for reforestation.
Right.
And what is happening? We are overfishing. We are destroying our
corals, marine environment, yes. Our mangroves,
Yes, that's and then your agencies are supposed to be involved in protecting this marine environment. They are also not, they don't have that mindset. They just probably like to go there because they have employment.
Yeah. Well, you did mention that the father of our president now, Marcos Sr., was aware of this. He had a maritime agenda.
Yes.
And I think the last time you appeared on the show, you were calling on his son, now the incumbent president, maybe to come up with a new maritime agenda. What would be the key pillars of an effective maritime agenda, a relevant maritime agenda now? Because we talk about maritime sector, it's such a broad area, right? But what would be the key pillars of that new agenda that you would like to see?
Well, the basic one, and I think it was President Ferdinand Edralin Marcos, who was really the one who put in that maritime agenda through Presidential Decree 47.
And created Marina, right there.
No, but people equate PD 474 with the creation of Marina.
Okay, but it's more than that, yeah.
But PD 474 actually is the maritime policy of the Philippines. Very clear. That's why I called out on Marina when they put up their first version of the MIDP. I said, that is not what the MIDP should be. And the one that was presented by DA Dinopol is the one that I propose they should take.
Yeah.
So, and that is based on that maritime policy enunciated under PD 474. I have been very open about it. I've written it in the Manila Times, and I said, for me, the best maritime legislation done in the Philippines is PD 474. Everything is there. You just have to connect all the other legislation that you have to do based on PD 474, but that is not what has happened, because after President Edralin Marcos left, there were several other presidents.
There are gaps,
but the only one who really picked it up was President Ramos. So after that, it's lost in translation. No, but as mentioned by DA Dinopol earlier, President, the son now, is really also pushing for maritime, but it will depend on the implementing agencies like Marina, PCG, Department of Transport, PPA. It's all, the ball is on their hands. They have to do it.
Well, you spoke about Ms. Dinopol of Marina. She talked about the new Maritime Ministry Development Plan for 2028. Is that what you wanted to hear in terms of maritime agenda, or is it greater than that, or it's a component of what you envision for the sector?
The framework that she presented was the result of our discussions with Marina.
I see.
So they adopted, the original vision was to have an integrated maritime industry. And when I asked them, what do you mean by that? Nobody can respond.
I see.
And said, look at PD 474. What does it say? It says, in effect, you have to allow or ensure access of passengers and shippers to your ship, or to ships that are carrying your cargo. So that is as simple as what PD 474 says. And that was the vision of President Edralin Marcos.
Right. You were saying, and this is for the benefit of those who don't follow these issues very closely, you said that maritime should be more than just about seafarers. It's much broader than that. Could you elaborate for those, especially the policymakers, lawmakers in Congress who are tackling these issues? They may not be as well-informed or well-versed in these. What does that mean, that it's not just about seafarers?
Yeah. I mentioned that in our first SMNI session. I said, seafarers are there because you have ships. It's not the other way around. You don't build ships because you have seafarers. And globally, worldwide, everyone knows, trade moves because of ships. So that's how important sea transport is. But of course, the ships will not move without seafarers. But if you look at it very closely, seafarers serve as necessary part of shipping. So I think we have to have ships first. So our mindset should be, how do we get ships in the country? How do we get to increase our Philippine fleet so that we are able to employ more seafarers? Now we are actually exporting seafarers to foreign flagships. If we have more ships, and you can do that,
and they can work here.
You can do that first by expanding your fleet domestically. But also you can do that if you improve your ship registry, which is involved in operating overseas. You don't have to have those ships, Philippine flagships, come on Philippine ports. They can be trading across
all over the world.
But you have on board your Philippine ships trading overseas, Filipino seafarers. Now you have, I think, 60% of Panamanian seafarers are Filipinos. Okay? So, but we always require that Philippine flagship should have 100% Filipino crew.
And, yeah, and you were saying earlier that there's a lot of shipbuilding done in the Philippines,
yes,
except that they don't contribute to the Philippine economy because they are built in peso zones, but they're really contributing to the economy of, let's say, the countries that own the shipyard or own the ships, right?
The gross national product is what a country produces wherever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so like Tunisia, they do build here, but the GNP, it is
counted toward
in the GNP. Yeah. But of course, your workers in the shipyards, they're
that's
into
the one that's
GDP on. It becomes GDP, gross domestic product, because they earn money. So it's not much.
Yeah.
So I think these are things that should be understood by us.
Yeah.
And I always still believe that the most potent tool of economic progress for the Philippines is the maritime industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my final point, you were saying that during the galleon trade, 80% of the ships that plied that route from Manila to Acapulco back in the day was made in the Philippines.
Built in the
Philippines.
So
we you know, are we sort of trying to rediscover the lost glory of shipbuilding in the Philippines? Was that the point you were trying to make?
In a way,
or it's much larger than that?
In a way, you know, that's how we started being in the maritime. The first, we had, they say Pigapetta recorded that the first one who circumnavigated the world is actually a Filipino because he was in a galleon trade. Yeah. But we missed that part where the galleon trade vessels were built, many of them were built in the Philippines. And it is recorded. I don't have the book now, but I have found the book. I bought it from UP, and it's there that ships are being built by shipbuilders or boat builders who were conscripted from Pampanga.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, you have heard about the Balanghay.
Okay,
I think the Balanghay is coming from Mindanao. But the galleon trade was really served by most vessels built in the Philippines by Filipinos.
Fascinating piece of trivia and history, but also I think a guidepost for maybe mapping the future of the maritime sector.
Yes, yes.
Well, Attorney Brenda Pimentel, thank you again for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you in Business and Politics. I'd like to thank everyone watching this program tonight, those watching live and those watching the replay. I'd like to thank also Pastor Apollo Kibuloy for making this program possible. This has been a special episode of Business and Politics. I'm Dante Klinkang, and I will see you next week.